Yeah, I just had a quick scan, a quick scan of that article there. Yeah, quite interesting. There's going to come a time of transition. Obviously, this world cannot exist the way it is for much longer because it's a self-consuming system, and there are many, many opportunities of regenesis, renewal, new forms of society, new forms of technology. They're already knocking at the doorway. I mean, they've been suppressed for long enough, you know. This is what can happen. But the technology that I'm learning is that even the whole galaxy is going into quarantine because of the black hole vortex siphoning system, bringing the major quotient of energy into containment for black hole fall. So the living structure is becoming less than the deadlight structure. In other words, it can't recover. It can't recover itself. There will be a time period in this earth of around about 200 years where teachings can come forth to help people learn how to connect to their higher dimensional original structure and drop off the drag you down codes that are inherent within the anatomy. So there would be a benefit for societies having new technologies, new kind of a currency, perhaps for having equity among beings, among members, having some form of equity, currency. But the whole drive would be to come into a new form of teaching. Obviously, the old teaching is a controlled dogma that has been programmed to brainwash the people to go along with the agenda of the black hole intrusion. So overthrowing that through necessity and through the black hole agenda coming to an end within itself because the people are waking up. They're not going to play that game anymore. There would be a diminishment of that energy in the planet, even though it would be here still, but people would be able to have communities building up to live in some sort of a beautiful way, not trying to have a long-term view for the planet, not trying to have a long-time view for the planet where they're saying, oh, well, in the next 10,000 years or next 500 years or whatever, we're going to build beautiful communities on the planet and we're going to regenerate the earth. That's not going to be a possibility here. The earth cannot regenerate itself in the time cycles that are allotted for it. The devastation has been too immense. It's just like you trying to blast a whole lot of energy through an integrated circuit. You can't get the energy through there quick enough to restore the system. It doesn't matter how many participators are trying to energize the system, it's been too long dilapidated and it's been too long entrained to the black hole vortex energy system. The opportunity we've got is a short-term opportunity here of a 200-year evacuation cycle to bring people into the knowledge of a true ascension process to migrate their consciousness off this falling, dilapidated gravity here, and to let those unwilling members, those who don't want to ascend, let those fall down into their own demise, which they have created. We always offer peaceful co-evolution of all species. In other words, come up, come into the ascension, come into the awakening, come up, come up. Let's migrate our consciousness off this decaying system. Let's go up and recreate. Let's go up and create new probabilities. Let's move up now rather than be dragged down by the vortex energy siphoning system of the black hole agenda. So there's always an offering to come up, and I wouldn't see it as a long-term venture here to create society with a long-term view of starting again and rebooting the whole system. No, I don't think it's time for that. I think we're in a mode now of let's learn how to migrate our consciousness into higher creative capacity and join with our own higher original structure to create the world that we really would have had. Some of the part of the Earth hologram already is in a higher probability field that we can join into. How we get there is another story. We need to progressively get there through integration. So there is a probable Earth scenario which is still holding original encryption, but it's only about a 1/3 of the quotient of the original Earth. One third of the Earth is already brought into full alignment of black hole fall, and the 1/3 that we're living on at the moment is totally netted and controlled and being drawn in. So it's a migration of consciousness. Let's get out of this planetary system that's in a desperate downgrade, and let's move our consciousness into an ascending planet and great possibility, great probabilities, great knowledge of true creation. So that's sort of what it's about, from what we hear in the teaching that we're learning. I love it myself. It gives everyone the opportunity to get off here. We're no longer going to support a degraded system through our consciousness, because our consciousness, being connected to black hole, is projecting this conscious worldview anyway. The moment you cleanse your mind, you're going to let that old false thing drop down, because it's only a decaying system that you were buying into, right? You're not going to supply energy down the black hole. You're going to create your own reality probabilities with a community that is like-minded. Yeah? So anyway, I hand over the mic there, you guys, if you want to make a comment or something, ask another question or whatever. I'm only answering off the top of my head through what I know, through what's been coming to me through long time investigation, and also through my own connection to source. I've found that I've been able to speak more and more clearly to myself through connecting to source flow of life, my higher dimensions of structure, which is my own consciousness. And that's what I always encourage people to do. You have a consciousness that's been shut down. The fields that have intervened between you and your originality have shut you down into a very diminished state. And we've been controlled by a matrix that's given us implants. It's like we've been encoded with holographic inserts. We're projecting their illusion and we're buying into it. But those parts of original consciousness and our highest state of evolution of consciousness have been shut off from us. We can learn to connect to our own original stations of consciousness and self-identity reality. We can come back into a living memory and rejoin ourselves there, because the greater quotient of ourselves is shut up out of containment. We can't reach it. And here we are down there trying to get together with ourselves. We're going to migrate ourselves through bringing consciousness in and lifting ourselves completely out of this quagmire of decay. So there you go. Hand over.
Another paper that I read was talking about the vibrational state and what it does to the human body. And if you look at it like on an oscilloscope, and you put the DNA thread in the middle, every time that vibrational state goes up and comes down, it hits a certain strand of your DNA, which we only unlock in just very small part, like 4 out of 12 of our DNA strands. As the frequency gets higher, to me, it's supposed to unlock other DNA codes, and because the frequency is faster, so it hits more often on the DNA strand. You get what I'm saying there?
I know exactly what you're saying there, Fax. That's what's happening, because in this current stellar activation cycle, which means cosmic alignment of high dimensional frequencies coming into this Earth through the core of the galaxy, not through the black hole. That's what's taking energy out. That's what's ripping us off. But there is the living structure through the core of the galaxy, which is revivifying everything. There are harmonics, and we learn that even through the teaching we called Ka-Tha-Ra. Now, Ka means light, Tha means sound, Ra means one. Ka-Tha-Ra, light, sound, one. So the sound tones, or the harmonics of the frequency of creation that generates into a template, which is the substrata of our matter manifestation. So there is a template of electromagnetical tonal signatures of light and sound, mathematical encryption, that generates an exact pattern of our biological form that is connected up into higher and lower sound and light fields. So we say sound creates light. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word said, "Let there be light." So the counterpart of light is sound. So our DNA, being sound tones, creates a light emission that we call our body. So the light body that we're manifesting is created through sound tones or harmonics of an encryption that's been given to us. And that's exactly it. The higher you raise up your frequency, you reach into higher harmonic universes. And that's the teaching we have. That here we are on what we call density 1. Density 1 would encompass dimensions 1, 2 and 3. Now that's what we call harmonic universe 1 or density 1. As we would bring into ourselves dimensions 4, 5 and 6, we would be bringing in higher overtones and also deeper bass tones. And the bass tones and the overtones meet in a harmonic field of our body, which we call harmonics. It's the unity, it's the resonance. So there would be a resonance signature of the Merkaba fields of overtones and bass tones, or electric-magnetic encryptions that work out through the fields of your body, that would create more and more frequency attunement with higher dimensions and lower bass tones. So you're going deep down through the earth and deep and high up above your head. So you're bringing into yourself greater and greater spherical energies, like a sphere of energy. If you were to reach the top of a sphere and the bottom of the sphere, and you find yourself in the middle of that sphere, you have higher and lower, which are really spherical energies coming in through the center of your own being, and you're creating a form constant within the Merkaba set of electromagnetic tones, like light and sound fields, electromagnetic, mathematical encryption template of creation that's creating your body of expression. And the more you go up and up and up and down and down and down and bring a resonant signature of bass tone, overtone, resonant tone into the harmonics of your Merkaba sets, you're bringing light and sound fields into yourself and increasing the frequency. You're actually migrating your consciousness self-identity into higher spherical energies of beauty and goodness and control. You're actually rising yourself up. So we're in a very, very depressed state here. However, the original organic creation process would be that we would come into dimensions 1, 2 and 3, which we call the outer realms, and within an organic process of regenesis, we would experience time cycles in density 1, 2, 3. And then when we had fulfilled those time cycles, built a living memory matrix of the times that we spent in that density, we would go into density 2, dimensions 4, 5, 6, and we would progress up. That would be an organic ascension. We would descend into matter, we would walk through experience, forming a self-identity, living memory matrix in time cycles, rising up, rising up, rising up, overcoming, more creative, greater expansion. That would be progressive, normal, organic expansion. But being in the densities that we are, and having been intruded upon by invader race lines, we have had that organic ascension process taken away from us. And we have had distortions put into our templates whereby we cannot ascend. We cannot migrate up into a normal organic process. We've been shut down through electromagnetic fences, through epigenetic overlay, through controls of intrusion, and through many, many holographic inserts and many tonal signatures and broadcasts in the hologram that have contained us and controlled us and shut us down. That is why the host is here. The host is an organic system hosting this dilapidated system. We've got to go through Earth core into the core of the hosting star and go up and gain new codes of our original creation. We've got to go in and receive what we call the living memory matrix host transplant to get our codes of ascension, or the harmonics, the sound tones of higher frequencies, to lift this body up, not in this containment of this dilapidated system, but in through creation point door into that hosting system. We've got to get in there and actually rise up in the hosting system. See, because this old system is falling down and nothing can save it now. It's gone past the point of no return. We can't ascend in the old structure like we used to be able to. Thousands and thousands of years ago, we used to be able to ascend within the outer realms of this existing structure. But now we can't. It's contained and shut down, it's completely controlled, and all the energy is being ripped out, and we're held here under the constraints of the controllers. We can find technology now where we're hosted by the hosting system into organic structures where we can ascend our consciousness out, but we need to migrate our consciousness into that new living system, and the codes of our originality are held there because it's organic system through which we descended in the original form and structure. So I don't know whether that makes any sense to you, but you can't ascend off this planet in the old ways that they used to thousands and thousands of years ago. You have to go through a hosting system that contains original codes and frequency accretion and vibration oscillation upgrades to bring you into greater expansion of consciousness and progression to overcome the densities and rise up into your original, evolution of consciousness position where you would have been before you were dragged down here. Before you were captured and dragged down into this containment, you had much higher evolution of consciousness achievement. You're a far greater being, and you know that within yourself. You know that within yourself. You're a far greater being, and you have glimmers and glimpses of that magnificence. And we're just finding the way back to regain that and retain that and build on and build up and get out of here, It's amazing. Anyway, Fax, come on up.
I've had that experience, and I know it's there. And it seems like the older I get, the harder it is to get there. I don't know if the pineal gland is being calcified or whatever, but the older I get, the harder it becomes to get back to that state. And what I'm wondering is, how do we know, how can we really tell when the peak moment is coming upon us?
Well, we don't even know whether the Gregorian calendar meets the Mayan calendar, whether 2012 is a true point. It's all people arguing about times and seasons and things, but one thing we can witness is a lot of change in the world. We can see a lot of things happening here, but we don't know whether it's really the early stages or whether we're right in the thick of it or whatever. But I know there's one thing you can do right now. There's one thing you can do right now, and that is you can start doing the techniques and technology of the ascension process, which we feel very sure is here with us now. It's called the host. The host of the original organic system is here to help us. We feel it, we hear it. It's like, come up, come with me. And it's like, I think what we can do now is begin the process of the ascension and the regenesis of the biological anatomy. A lot of the talk that we have in our teachings is that if you haven't upgraded your biological anatomy and you're still down on a very dense energy system of your body, you might not be able to even migrate off the planet, because you migrate through the increase of energy that you assimilate into your biology. So in other words, it would be evidence of a biological upgrade, genetic restructuring through the systems of your body that will enable you to eventually break free from the drag you down codes that are encoded in your body, and you'll be able to migrate. Even if it came to a crunch time where there may be some assistance required for you to evacuate the planet in a hurry, say through maybe some extra stellar help, like in the way of some sort of a plasma ship or something, whether you might be taken aboard to go to another planet of regenesis. If you haven't got your biology up to scratch, you wouldn't be able to do that journey. So evolution of consciousness, biological upgrade, the anatomy of reinstalling your original codes into your temple or the template of your body would upgrade the biology and put the frequency of your body into a position where you can either start to migrate your consciousness out, or you can actually go on a craft, or you can evacuate the planet in some way in an emergency. But in our system we have an ability to teach that you either take your body up through biological upgrade, through your anatomy, and downloading your high integrity into your body to upgrade yourself, or you've got to learn how to extract your own original spiritual codes out of the atoms of your body. If you're going to drop a body, if you're going to die a body here, you would still want to know how you can extract the atomic bonding that occurred when your spirit anatomy was tethering together in the womb of your mother with the biological anatomy of the donated biology from your parents. So if the atoms of the donation of your parents called your biological body, is tethered together with your incarnate self. In other words, that self-identity of your higher spiritual reality is coming together to operate and animate the body. It's coming into integration, and it wants to completely take over your body and dissolve the codes of the false anatomy that you've inherited from your parents. You know, when you incarnate here in a body, you want to fully integrate your spiritual reality into the anatomy of your donated body. But if you do die a body, you really want to be able to extract your spiritual atomic bonding codes out of the atoms of your body so that you're still a whole spiritual anatomy. In actual fact, many times we have reincarnated here on the earth. We have left little telltale signs of our self-identity in many atoms that are floating around the planet. And we really need the technology to know how to extract those atomic bondings out of those parts so we can get ourselves together as a true spiritual anatomy anyway. So this is the technology, and it's all about bringing the biology up to a frequency of increase that you can actually migrate your consciousness or your body awareness up and out of here one way or the other, either by dropping a body or by taking the body up. You know, that was always the demonstration that I believe Jesus was showing us, that when he got himself together, he actually transfigured the whole body and took it up. And I think that's a possibility for us here. When we connect with our higher multi-dimensional anatomy, we can download the whole computer load of self-identity into the biology, upgrade it and take it out of here. Right? Anyway, hand over.
Well, I was thinking this, the body is a computer, like you say. Then we have been indoctrinated over our life to believe that if it's ones and zeros, our subconscious is filled with false facts that we believe is true. So that makes our conscious mind react to what our subconscious says is true when actually it's filled with garbage. So while we're here on the planet, we need to learn to reprogram our subconscious so that our conscious mind can make the right decisions.
And that's right too, and that's what it's all about, realizing that you can bring your own self-identity in to override what the Bible might call carnal commands or subconscious filing and archiving of recordings of this planet of distortion. Yes, you can rise up and overcome it by bringing your true self-identity in, undoing your subconscious, undoing your unconscious, making your conscious mind fully aware of your higher dimensional structure and operating out of your higher multi-dimensional structure. So you haven't got any interfering patterns in the biological computer called your body, transfiguring your body, transmuting the distortion fields, reverse engineering all the influences that have come into you through time. Very powerful. And don't forget that you have many aspects, not just this one that you've got right here that you call you. You've got many aspects in space-time realities that have stepped down through densities into matter manifestation templates. You've got many thousands of yourself all around the place that you're also going to get on program with yourself and start to gather yourself together. Yeah. I like the what Polaris 80815 has said. It says, I thought you were the one that choose your parents. I mean, your soul is supposed to match the frequency and energy level of your body. Otherwise you can't incarnate till you find the proper prospects to be born through. Well, this is very true in a lot of ways. There are emergency incarnations, and normally it does come in through family lines. But generally speaking, if the right selection of parents is the progression, then higher frequency spiritual entities can come into more spiritually empowered parents. It's very true. It's very true. In actual fact, that's a biblical principle. They say that there was 42 generations to bring the Christ into manifestation from Abraham, and all of those lineages were selected by what they call the Holy Spirit. So there was a true breeding program to bring the parents into higher frequency through true lineage. and eventually you would bring into manifestation the Christ, whatever. So very, very true. And so you do select your parents. In actual fact, I'm very privileged to look at my parents after a long amount of retrospect and having looked back, and I can see that they were two very spiritual beings, and I'm very thankful that things do work that way. Sometimes the reverse is also true, where negative entities are continually corrupting parent lines so they can bring their black hole invader race line low energy frequency beings into manifestation here through similar processes, And you can also see that, the old system of, arranged marriages, when you went back into the regenesis of the earth and how the priest castes of the original guardians would select certain members of community with certain genetic aspects. They would know which family race lines they came from, which planets they came from, and how they came into the earth, and they would choose pairs of people continuously marrying through arrangement to bring forth more and more powerful offspring that were more and more spiritually inclined. And so it would have been that the progression through the ordination, through the priestcraft, and through those times of guardianship to regenerate the population, to regenerate the planet, there would have been perfect structures of organized genetic upgrade that were increasing the frequency of genetics and the breeding stock to bring in higher and higher and higher encrypted beings into manifestation on the planet, to upgrade the planet, because we as guardians would direct the energy flows of the planet and would have more and more knowledge about the way things work on a galactic level, and we would be more and more opportune, to come in as families of high encrypted beings to help with the regenesis. And so there you have it today, that everything is, it's all lust, and it's all this and that and everything, and the corruption and the pornography and all of the distortions of the planet today are going about just creating a hodgepodge of, whatever's happening is whatever's happening, and it's on a decline. So there was a purpose for having arranged marriages and genetic codes of upgrade for the whole planet to rise the earth into higher structure. It was a program that was originally here. So you can see how it's been distorted and intruded upon, and those values have been lost. And free will. So different ideas came in, moral corruptions and everything else came in. And of course the world is in a real melting pot at the moment, with all sorts of race line breedings and different things happening by the volition of individuals, rather than through a purpose of ascension or a purpose of let's create realities here that's going to be beneficial to everyone as an uplifting planet. There you go. What are your thoughts on that one, you guys? What are your thoughts on that?
It's your turn, Mel.
Okay, you guys. I'll just switch the recording off there for a minute.